Wednesday, November the 3rd. French still refuse our beef. All the more for me, says Pauline Quirk. Aussies adamant. We can rule ourselves. Portillo back in politics. Gays back in the closet. Please welcome the man with the safest seat in the House, Mr. Ian Lee.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you. And for you? Not for you, you're horrible. There you are. Hello and welcome to the 11 o'clock show. Yes, say it loud, he's back and he's proud. Portillo is in. And as we promised yesterday, I will make no more cheap double entendres about his sexuality. That is all in my past. I was a student at the time and it certainly won't happen again. So get off his back. Shit. Hang on. That's the last one, I promise. It's quite hard, though. Bollocks. Right, that definitely is the last one. He's on his way, and what a speech he made after he'd sneaked into Kensington and Chelsea Town Hall through the side entrance, right? Got that? The side entrance. Not the back door, not the small passage, but the side entrance. Being careful. Let's talk politics, I think, because I bet Michael can't wait to get involved in the Tories' common sense revolution. Now, only in Britain could we have a common sense revolution. What do we want? Revolution! When do we want it? After due democratic process and with the minimum fuss, please. Outraged spokeswoofter Peter Tatchell says that Michael's teenage... Well, he is. Says that Michael's teenage dallyings make him a hypocrite. Well, so what? We're all hypocrites, aren't we? Huh? Who here did not experiment in their youth? I know I certainly did, and I know my youth enjoyed it. We've all tinkered with both sexes. We've all rifled through our cousins' laundry baskets. We've all played doctors and doctors behind the bike sheds, didn't we? Didn't we? Just me on that one, never mind. But whatever I say, leave him alone. He's done his time. Welcome back, Signor Portillo. 2 minutes into the show and not one cheap double entendre. Wasn't easy, but Michael, if you're watching, I will bend over backwards for you. And suck your cock. And now, please welcome direct from Kensington and Chelsea, it's Daisy Donovan. Good to see you. Hey, funky lady. So, Daisy, what do you think that Portillo will bring to Kensington?
Well, I think he'll bring a taste of Spain to the area. Cafe Society will liven up, the weather's bound to improve, and I, for one, can't wait to start beating donkeys with a big stick.
Sounds like fun. Daisy, tell us what's on tonight's show.
Well, Superfly guy Ali G takes on a super spy guy, Stansfield Turner, former head of the CIA.
So could I ever work for the CIA?
I would certainly think so. You seem intelligent.
Thank you very much. I've got 2 GCSEs. Thank you.
And we meet documentary maker Nick Broomfield, a man who terrifies the powerful and famous with his painstaking research and breathtaking accuracy.
Sorry, I come to the wrong pump.
Now here's the headlines.
As Michael Portillo celebrated being nominated by the Tories, gay right activists, outraged, continued to hound him. This exclusive footage reveals that while the protesters may appear tough, their protests are just, well, gay.
I am particularly excited to have been chosen to be the representative for Kensington and Chelsea. I feel a great empathy with the city. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. Portillo, how do you reconcile your homosexuality?
Oh, they don't mind, do they?
Theory.
Agriculture Minister Nick Brown denied he had backed down in the beef war. The French have insisted on 5 new tests for British beef. But Mr Brown was quick to point out that only one of them is written and the cows will be allowed to use calculators.
The French say they won't lift the ban until all 5 steps are met. If the pop group are not available, they might be prepared to meet Boyzone instead.
A new study shows that taller women have a better chance of promotion. However, it's only fair that I point out that women with smaller hands do make your cock look bigger.
Football news. With tickets for the England-Scotland clash being touted for up to £1,000, one healthy Scottish fan reveals the lengths he's had to go to in order to buy a ticket.
I've had to pawn stuff, I've had to go out and steal.
A man who poses as a survivor of the Paddington train crash to try to win compensation has been branded the sickest man in Britain. Officials said it was a tragic fall from grace for a man who had survived the Turkish earthquake, Zeebrugge and the Titanic.
In a Hawaii Xerox factory, a man has shot dead 7 of his colleagues. The killer then stole a company van and escaped. Police originally thought he'd used the A4, but later enlarged the search, taking the A3.
And those are today's headlines. A leaked report out today claims the government intend to go back on their promise to ban fox hunting during this Parliament.
Is this dramatic U-turn due to pressure from the hunt-loving Prince Charles? Alan Francis reports.
Sports fans were rejoicing today as a leak revealed that despite government assurances, this week's Queen's speech is unlikely to include a ban on fox hunting. The sport returned to the political agenda after Prince Charles, well known for his love of cruelty, infuriated the Prime Minister when he took Princes William and Harry on last weekend's Beaufort hunt. The Prince, speaking as he enjoyed a bare-knuckle fight in Braintree, said, "It's a healthy outdoor pursuit. I've always enjoyed riding with hounds." Inbred pressure group, the Countryside Alliance, also fiercely resist a ban, claiming that destroying such a long tradition could have devastating economic consequences. They point out that cotton farmers in the American South were ruined by the abolition of slavery, and that in 1945 the German economy collapsed after the banning of Nazis. Not everyone agrees. We asked an expert on fox hunting what he thought the economic effect on the countryside would be. With the government worried that their U-turn on fox hunting will leave the farmers with nothing to come to London and whinge about, they have compiled a list of other possible grievances. Things to complain about now are high taxes on tweed, the cost of placards, the inflexible incest laws, and television stereotyping of inbred country bumpkins. But how would the public react to a ban on the sport of fox hunting?
It's just savagery. It's making men look like brutes.
But should they ban a sport simply because one side always loses?
Yeah, but is it a sport though?
More die on the roads than get killed by hunt.
What's roads got to do with it? They don't drive.
So the question tonight is, will Tony Blair, a man who normally kowtows to public opinion, bow not to the majority, but a minority? A minority who have access to guns and include 2 future kings. Only time will tell. This is Alan Francis for the 11 o'clock show, The Countryside.
Just in.
Weatherman Rob McElwee was redecorating his home when he discovered Fred West's signature beneath the wallpaper. He's said to be horrified, particularly as the next job on his list is relaying the patio.
Weatherman Rob said that finding the signature on his wall sent a cold shiver right through him, starting in the south and ending with high winds in northerly areas.
A man who ran up a £33,000 credit card debt buying lottery scratch cards said in court he couldn't remember how many cards he'd bought. Now, I'm not saying he's stupid, but they cost £1 each, so I'm guessing maybe it's about 32,000. Not sure.
A fatwa has been issued against the writer of Corpus Christi, the controversial new play depicting Jesus Christ as gay. The playwright is now accompanied everywhere by a policeman, as well as a Red Indian, a cowboy, a GI and construction.
Plans have been announced to set up job centres in pubs. We asked a spokesman if this wasn't a rather frivolous approach to the problem of unemployment. He said, "You're my best mate, you are. I love you, you bastard." However, officials have gone out of their way to maintain a pub ambience, including this innovation. The jobs will be on a board like this. As you can see, as candidates take the cards down, they slowly reveal a picture of a topless woman.
Obviously, the less attractive jobs are placed in the most provocative positions. So here, there's an advert for a sewage worker in the Lewisham area.
While here, there's an advert offering a week of manual labour in Rob McElwee's back garden.
And that was the news just in.
Coming up in part 2, our special guest, shambling documentary maker Nick Broomfield, and a report from Ali G, a man who always knows where he's at. Well, almost.
Bo! No, this ain't no special effect. Channel 4 has brought out the serious cash money to send me all the way over here to Los Angeles. Selecta! Yeah, after the break.
But before the break, one eye that's always in the news is the London Eye, the nation's favourite white-knuckle ride. Ooh, slow down. But what other eyes are making the headlines? Here's Ricky Gervais with his A to Z of news.
India, big place where students go instead of getting a job. Indira Gandhi, First Lady of India. She wasn't actually in the film, but she's Ben Kingsley's wife. I think Attenborough was trying to do like a minder when he says her indoors, you never actually see her. Indonesia, that's near there, I think. They're fighting now about something. Iran, the Gulf War, or was that Iraq? It was on late at night because the Americans own the rights to it, like the Holyfield fights. So we get it at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was in black and white. Falklands was better. Israel, that's around there. They've had loads of rucks. The IMF, won #1, disappeared. Independence. Oh, we want independence like Scotland. Go on then, you're on your own. Don't come crying to me when you're starving or getting invaded. Italy, they changed sides. Issues. England. I shouldn't have done I.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock show.
Australia goes to the polls on Saturday to decide whether they want to carry on having a lend of our Queen. If you're Australian and you're watching this, get back to work. Those glasses won't wash themselves. If you're not, here's 5 facts about our friends down under.
1. Australia is a whacking 10 hours ahead of us, yet they're still 10 years behind when it comes to realising that blonde highlights and leathery suntans look shite.
2. Most of Australia is uninhabitable desert and there's a huge hole in the ozone layer right over it. If you're Australian and you believe in God, you might like to think of this as a big hint.
3. Even when Aussies have a decent story to tell, they can't find an actress of their own to play the part. They always use Meryl Streep.
Dingo's got my bubby daughter. 4. In the southern hemisphere, water goes down the plug hole in the bath anti-clockwise instead of clockwise, which is the proper way. Any Australian will tell you this if you can find one who knows what a bath is.
5. To sum up, the Commonwealth. We put in the wealth and they put in the common.
Surveys revealed that more foreigners recognise the name of a fictional British council official than that of Conservative Party leader William Hague.
Perhaps he needs to enlist the services of our next guest to help raise his profile. Please welcome legendary documentary maker Nick Broomfield. What made you to become a documentary filmmaker? Are you a bit of a voyeur?
Well, I think that helps. It definitely helps, yeah.
Why documentaries and not, I don't know, motion pictures or something?
Well, I think the two are pretty similar, and, you know, I'm going to do some... actually, I think I did a feature, but it was, like, pretty awful. and I just found... I mean, what I've liked about doing them is that you kind of can go to incredible places and do things that you wouldn't normally do, whereas doing a feature is very organised and, you know, you have a gigantic number of people.
Now, you say that, but don't you just wander around with a camera trying to wind people up?
No, I think people are quite easily wound up.
Oh, boy, yeah.
If you're around, too, with a camera. You know.
But you choose subjects that kind of deserve humiliation, don't you? I mean, Terre Blanche and Margaret Thatcher.
I think Margaret Thatcher particularly, yeah.
Do you set out to humiliate them?
Not really, but I think with Margaret Thatcher, she was just completely humourless. And we had managed to get her itinerary when she went across America. So we knew, like, where she was getting her hair done and, you know, we had the whole thing. And she was just pretending we weren't there all the time, which was much funnier when we were, like, stuck in a gridlock traffic jam in New York, and I could literally bang on the window and say, hi, you know, and she would still pretend we weren't there.
Just going, Mrs. Thatcher, and she's just staring ahead of her.
She was, yeah.
I'm quoting you now. I can't imagine having great sex with Margaret Thatcher. Now, does that mean you can actually imagine having any kind of sex?
Now, how much of your work has been influenced by seminal documentary maker Bend Over?
Are you talking about Michael Portillo again?
Are you aware of
Have you
Bend
not
Over's
seen
work?
Bend Over's work?
No, I'd love to see it.
You would
I'm
love
not
to
sure
see
I would, actually.
What he does is he follows ladies around and then films himself having sex with them and their bottoms.
Have you got any clips?
Yeah, I've got some upstairs. You can have a look. Would you like to make a film about the Queen Mum while there's still time? Any potential there with her?
I don't know, but these are fantastic ideas. I'm not sure.
That's £5 for that one.
Oh, all right.
Now, finally, many of your films centre on strong women. We've got someone that we think will make an ideal subject. Have a look. Xena Warrior Princess. Could you do her, do you think?
I don't know.
Well, Nick Broomfield. A report out today reveals that married men are much more likely to be successful at work than single men. You think that's true, Daisy?
Absolutely, Ian. You just have to look at Richard Madeley, Prince Edward and Barrymore.
But do the British public agree? I went to find out.
In the old days, the only benefit of getting married was to prevent you having a bastard son. But not anymore. A report out today reveals that married men work harder, are happier and are more successful. I've come here to London to find out the truth. Are you in favour of marriage?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Because don't more married men commit adultery than single men?
I wouldn't know that one.
Have you had more girlfriends or wank mags?
More girlfriends. No wank mates.
Mags, not mates.
Mate.
Oh, suggesting you get round with your friends and have a quick game of the sticky biscuit. That's not my intention at all. But you thought of that. That was your idea. So obviously you have done that in the past. Do you ever cut the cheese in bed and then force her under the duvet so she has to smell it?
No. No, nothing like that. We live in a civilised household.
Now that you're married, do you find it easier to go in via the back door? Would you ever consider using marriage as a smokescreen to hide your homosexuality?
I'm not homosexual.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying you are homosexual, but would you ever use marriage as a smokescreen to hide your homosexuality?
No, I wouldn't bother.
You just go bumming wherever you fancy.
Yeah.
You take your wedding ring off right now, just for a second, and we'll see. I'll look after it, don't worry, won't do anything bad with it. Now, got your wedding ring here. Now you're single. Okay? You're single. What does it feel like?
Brilliant.
Yeah? It feels good, doesn't it? Yeah. So you don't need your ring anymore, do you?
Yeah, of course I want it.
Well, we'll just lob it down there. So there we have it. Without their wives, married men in England seem to be completely lost. This has been Ian Lee, the 11 o'clock show, London. That's lovely. Thanks very much. Cheers, man.
You're buzzing. Let's be real.
No, seriously, I just loved it down there. Sorry, we'll go and help you find it if you want. I think it's down here somewhere. Come on. There it is. I can just see it. Those chaps found it. Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Nice one.
Never got it back. It's in my pocket.
Really?
I kept it.
Now time for more news just in.
Jerry Halliwell says she's learnt sign language. I think that should prove very useful, seeing as so many of our audience are deaf.
George Michael has pulled out of a charity concert for gay rights, even though organisers had told him he could take part at his convenience.
Disney have announced plans to build a $3.2 billion theme park in Hong Kong. The plans might be withdrawn when Disney executives realise that most of the population are shorter than the "you can't go on this ride if you're shorter than me" man. They're tiny.
A mum with the surname Lee has been criticised for naming her children Obvious Lee and Shaw Lee. She said they were great kids who would do anything for their sister Dairy.
A new toy has been causing chaos. Several have been discovered by members of the public, who then panic, believing it to be an abandoned human fetus.
The confusion is obvious. It's small, slimy and nasty, but please, if you find one, don't panic. It's just the new William Hague action figure, available from all good toy shops now. And finally, today is officially Stress Awareness Day, so I spent this afternoon walking barefoot on the grass.
Which was troublesome for me because I was trying to smoke it at the time.
But if we really want to become a stress-free nation, perhaps we should look to those most at peace with themselves. People like the monks of Korea, seen here. And that was more news just in. I keep on thinking it's American Boston. More news just
The world of espionage is a world of disguise, subterfuge and outrageous audacity.
So who better to meet former CIA head honcho Stansfield Turner than our own Ali G?
Yeah, you don't stop. It goes out to the crew up top. That's it.
Wicked, I is here with my main man, Admiral Stansfield Turner, who was the head of the American CIA. So, Mr. Stansfield, what does the CIA stand for?
Central Intelligence Agency.
So does it help if you was intelligent if you want to get in?
Yes. To get in, you need a college degree.
Ain't that a bit racialist, though, that you have to be intelligent?
Isn't that a bit?
Racialist, that you won't allow in thick people. Could I ever work for the CIA?
I would certainly think so. You seem intelligent.
Thank you very much. I've got 2 GCSEs. All right, thank you. So what is terrorism?
Terrorism is the effort to strike fear into people in order to achieve some political objective.
So how does the CIA deal with terrorists?
Well, we try to find terrorists. One time during my tenure as the head of the CIA, we had managed to put an agent, one of our
for real?
people or one of our friends, inside a Middle Eastern terrorist organization.
Aye. You
Now,
put an Asian in there.
Put an agent in there.
So why is it that you only put Asians into those places?
Asians? No, I didn't put Asians in. These were...
I thought you said you put an Asian in there.
Agents.
All right, so these weren't like Bangladeshis or
No,
whatever.
no, A-G-E-N-T-S.
Ah, all right. So let's talk about spies now, because the CIA is also got to do with spies, isn't it? Is it true that you have certain female spies that you put a camera in their punani? What uniform do the CIA spies wear?
They don't wear a uniform. They have to be as incognito as possible. Now look, you go over to a foreign country. Now, we have a CIA person goes to country X.
Aye.
And in that country, he finds Joe, who is willing to give us information.
Who is Joe?
Joe's a member of country X. He's a citizen of country X.
Is it not dangerous that you is saying his name, because this may be on the telly? Let's talk about conspiracy theories, because whenever people talk CIA, everyone start going, they do this, they do that, they do that. What about landing a man on the moon? Did it actually ever happen?
Of course it happened. I've actually shaken hands with the first man on the moon.
But how do we actually know that Louis Armstrong was actually stood on the moon?
It was Neil Armstrong.
Whatever.
How do we know? I don't know.
Has you ever seen the film JFK?
Well, I mean, my understanding of the movie, Oliver Stone's movie, JFK, is that there was a conspiracy of one of my predecessors and the whole cabinet of the United States to murder the President of the United States, and it's absolutely nonsense.
That bloke who was in Dances with Wolves, he knows who did it. How come no one listens to
I don't know who this bloke is, or...
In the film...
Well, I mean, how does... What makes this film true? I mean, how do we...
It's a true story.
Well, how do you know it's a true story? You're questioning whether people landed on the moon, and now you're telling me you believe a movie.
For real.
I mean, how can you believe that movie if you don't believe what went on the moon?
Because they spent millions of pounds making that. It wouldn't have made it if it was...
They spent hundreds of millions of pounds going to the moon.
Aye. Thank you, Admiral Turner. You have shown us that the CIA is an interesting topic. It's a proper organization, and therefore needs to be thought about properly. Respect, big up yourself.
Tomorrow night, our special guest will be weather wizard Sean Lloyd.
Just before we go, there's growing concern about Ronnie Corbett's replacement in a revamped version of the Two Ronnies.
He's got a new pup.
Well, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.
The 11 o'clock show, the news alternative, is back tomorrow at 11:30.